Hey, super friends. My name is Neil, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Gayer Comic Con podcast. We took an extra week off between episodes because we didn't feel like talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu, but we are back today to talk about a film which is in cinemas right now across the globe, which I think is pretty safe to say we both have loved, which is Masters of the Universe. It came out this week. I got to see it earlier this week. Michael went to see it last night. We're going to dive deep into what we think of this absolutely camp as Christmas 80s cartoon adaptation. But first, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to
As
be talking
always.
about another fun movie.
Yeah. You might have noticed there is, well, if you're watching this, you will have noticed. If you're listening to it, you won't. That we are missing one of the trio today. Aaron is taking an episode off. He is deep into working on reviews for the Tribeca Film Festival, which is awesome. But he has also been a little bit under the weather, so we wish him a speedy recovery. That is not some weird like boy band breakup PR cover-up thing. He missed a performance because he's not well, and then he left the band. He is just
Sounds like the Spice Girls. Do you remember that one?
exactly. He is the ginger. He may never return.
Get well soon, Jerry.
That is what happened, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that is what happened.
She was sick, and then they were on camera at like the Brits, and she's like, "Get well soon, Jerry." Anyway.
No, he will be back very, very soon. But that's fine. Okay, right. Games Expo. I want to talk to you about Games Expo. This I have never been. I got a bunch of press releases for it, and a couple of companies were like, "Oh, are you coming to the Games Expo?" I'm like, "No. What is it? I want to. I like board games." This is a thing that you have been to. Was it last weekend?
Yeah, it was last weekend.
Tell us all about it.
Well, I had no clue what it was, first of all, and if I'd have thought about it, I could have covered it as like part of the Get You Comic Con.
You probably could have got you in on a press pass.
Yeah, I didn't think about it at all. My friends who I play video games with, we play Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, they were like, "Oh, this thing's on in Birmingham. The tickets are really cheap, but it's like a huge, like kind of like venue. Do you want to go and just have a walk around? We can go back to nerdy stuff." And I was like, "Sold. Say less."
Was it? So was it the NEC?
It was the NEC, which I've never been to before, and it is huge. It's massive. I was so impressed. It honestly was quite overwhelming how big it is. But yeah, we went, and it's just like huge, like convention halls, kind of like obviously Comic-Con style, just full of like board games that you can try, board games that you can purchase, like nerdy vendors like selling like pins, merch, like all of the good stuff that you'd want. So like it was just super nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the board games are obviously the big selling point. And they have like this huge section where you can just go and sit. Well, pretty much every option, like every board game, you can sit and play a game of it. But then there's this like huge section where like you can just go and pick games off the side and like play with your mates, play against people that you don't know. It was so nerdy. It was really cool, honestly. I would 100% go again. I think you'd love it.
Yeah, so a friend of mine from my uni days that I board game with a lot was there, and he was like, "Come on, you need to come." But we'd already booked tickets to a Pokemon card show, so we were Pokemon carding. Not me personally, I don't understand it. But next year, I would really, really like to go to it. I think it would be awesome. What games did you play any while you were there?
We played a handful. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So we went. My friend has a 6-year-old, so we was trying to like entertain the 6-year-old. So we went.
So you probably weren't playing like D&D stuff. It was probably slightly more family.
We did buy a couple of dice because we do play D&D like as a group, but yeah, it was more playing the more like kid-friendly, family-friendly stuff.
Yeah,
and there were so many that I can't remember the names of them. Like there was one where you was like a shark. I'd have to dig it out. I can like maybe put it in like the bio. I'll list them or something.
Yeah,
but there were so many. Honestly, it was overwhelming. Like how many there were. I'm not the biggest board game person either, so like for me to have enjoyed it says a lot.
We were talking about this yesterday because so we went to see Beetlejuice the musical yesterday, and the theatre's really near Foyle's bookshop, and Foyle's has a really massive board game section. So we were just walking around there, and honestly, we have a cupboard in the flat which is a bookcase, same as this, but one of the like just 2 of them rather than 4 of them columns. That actually no, it's 2 next to each other, so it is 4 columns, literally full of board games, absolutely full, and quite a lot of them we haven't played. There's loads that we play really, really regularly, and when we're with friends, there's certain ones that we'll play quite a lot. So there's like a game called Power Grid that's really, really good fun that we play a lot. There's one called Raccoon Tycoon that's also really fun that we play a lot. We need to sort of branch out a little bit, but during I think it was during the pandemic, right? Like early pandemic, we discovered this eBay seller who would basically just find board games where there was a slight issue, which meant that they couldn't be sold in stores. So it would be like the box is damaged, like to the point where there's like a whole side of it that's either like missing or ripped, or a few pieces inside are defective, and so they don't go like on sale in a store, they just get binned. And so this eBay store was selling all these board games at like half price or even less than half price. So we were just like buying shit constantly. And there's just so many that I bought that I was like, well, it's cheap. Like that's normally like 50 quid and I can get it for 15 quid. That are just sitting there that we've never gotten around to playing. So we really need like a week of just solid board gaming. So I think I would probably go nuts at a convention like that and just like buy everything.
Yeah, you'd love it. Again, I think because as a kid I played all of the crap board games that I kind of have this, like I have this like pre-existing board games that aren't very fun, but like over the years I've slowly been warming up to them, and there are some really cool ones that exist. So I think a little bit of like research and a little bit of like thought, and I'm sure I'd like absolutely find the ones that I love.
Absolutely landed at that point in life where board games are suddenly like, this is actually the shit. I love this.
Hit 30 and I was like, oh, board games.
Yep, literally. That's exactly what happened to me. It's funny though, isn't it? There's like
an early
so many that I remember from when I was a kid that I wanted, that you'd see the TV adverts for, which you probably wouldn't anymore. But you only ever end up with like the cheap version. So like I never had Mousetrap. I probably had like Rat Catcher, or like, you really want Operation and you get like Surgery. That's like the slightly wonky, not branded version of it, or stuff like that. But there are some awesome games I'm sure that you would love. We play a lot of stuff like there's this really big like RPG type game called Zombicide. It's not quite as in depth as like a D&D, but you have characters with certain like traits, and every time you play the game you can pick a different scenario, and there's so many different combinations of boards, and it'll be like, you've got 6 humans, this is the infection status with these zombies, this is your objective, and it's like working your way through different rooms to find weapons and different stuff like that. Or so much fun. There's a DC version of it as well, which is just we're gonna have to have a board game day.
Yeah, I think we are. That sounds really good, actually.
I'm glad you had a good
UK
time
Games Expo, would recommend. It was amazing. I bought so much stuff.
We're gonna have to see if we can get press passes.
Yeah, I'm definitely going again. I think my advice for anyone that hasn't been would be like, if you're like me and you're not really used to this world, is researching the games, like who will be there. Because Cult of the Lamb, are you familiar with that video game?
Yes.
There was a board game there from them. They had a whole section, and the game looked so cool, but I had no clue what it was, how it worked. And I feel like I would have benefited if I'd have done some research. So I think it definitely, do your research, I guess, is my advice. Because there's a lot there. And I went for one day. I did the Saturday, and I honestly could have spent the full weekend there because there was so much to do.
Yeah.
I don't even think we scratched the surface. It was so big.
So you can apply for a press pass to attend and cover the event as a member of the press. The press pass will grant you access to the show preview and will identify you as press for filming and interviewing purposes in our halls. Press pass will allow you access to all 3 days of the event. You do need to ideally focus on the gaming industry, maintain a reasonable following on your website and social media, post regularly on your website and social media, be willing to showcase the expo throughout the weekend across all your platforms, use hashtags, and be in attendance at the evening awards and press preview events. I mean, I will go either way, but I reckon we give it a shot and see if we can cover it next year.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go again, so I'm happy to give it a go.
Let's do it.
Be fun.
Let's do it. Nice. Oh yeah, no, I'm glad. I
Love it.
I really don't know what planet I'm on because this has been one hell of a week this week. I have never been so busy. Thankfully, I have nothing coming up this week. I think I've got a podcast recording on Wednesday, but I have no like film events for a week.
Nice.
Actually, I do have one, but it's top secret. Yes, more on that later.
More on that later.
It leads into some super fun stuff that's happening starting the week afterwards. Yeah.
Wow. What a tease. You mentioned Beetlejuice. How was it?
It's really good fun. Do you know much about it? Obviously, you know about the film. I'm sure you know about the film. You will have seen the film, clearly.
Both of them.
Yes. Musical's really interesting. I saw it in New York back in 2019, which was, I think, the first time it played on Broadway. We went out for New York Comic Con, and it was like, well, we were in New York. We have to go to a show. What should we go see? Let's go see Beetlejuice. And it was really, really good fun. And it has really like intricate staging. Very wonky and Tim Burton-y, and like the sandworm is like a full puppet on stage, and Beetlejuice does a lot of kind of illusionary magic, so lots of like paper turning to fire and just like sleight of hand stuff going on. So it's a really intricate show, but it's taken them so long to bring it to the UK. People have been asking for it for years, and it's finally only just now. It opened like maybe 2 weeks ago here, and it's only doing a limited run, and then I think it's going to go on a UK tour. But they had their press night, I think it was last week, and I'd read some of the reviews, and the reviews weren't great because they're saying it's a scaled down version of the show, and I think it is a version that they've built so that it can do its run in London and then go on tour, rather than having to build like a big complex London stage and then also build a separate touring version. So it is a little bit scaled down. The puppets are still there, the sleight of hand stuff is still there. There's just a few bits and pieces that have been tweaked so that it's not so intricate. The theater in New York does a lot of stuff with trapdoors, so like people dying and going to the Netherrealm would fall like through trapdoors in the stage, whereas the London stage doesn't have that. So it's a lot more about sort of drawing doors and opening doors to the Netherrealm. And the death of Adam and Barbara Maitland is slightly changed because obviously in the film it's the car that tips off the bridge when the dog jumps off the like plank of wood under the car. They electrocute themselves in the stage show, which in New York I think they electrocute themselves and fall through the floor, but in this one they just electrocuted themselves and lay down, which was a little bit like oh that's sad. They were literally both just like ugh. But I really enjoyed it. There's some really, really good songs in it. There's some really memorable songs in it. There are a couple of times where it gets a little bit too inspirational. And then there are some
inspirational.
Yeah, it's my problem with musicals. I don't like when musicals get really like glee inspirational. I'm just like, I just want to like slip my wrists at that point. It's too happy.
Yeah.
But on the whole, it's really good fun. It's so worth watching. Couple of strange twists on the story as well to try and make it fit better into like a stage show. I won't spoil major stuff, but there's like a stronger focus on Lydia's grief over losing her mum rather than being about Adam and Barbara's house being taken over by this other family. So it focuses more on Lydia, and that allows them to have Beetlejuice on stage a lot more. Probably equally about as camp as the film we're about to talk about, to be honest. And I feel like they really, really like gayed Beetlejuice up from when I saw it in New York. I do not remember him having such a crush on Adam, but there's a running joke through the whole show that he's kind of interested in Barbara, but actually is a little bit more interested in Adam. So there's lots of funny, like weirdly sexy moments between Adam and Beetlejuice.
Love that.
The audience was loving every second of it though. Like it was sold out and everyone was just like so into it. Loads of people in cosplay as well, like Beetlejuice merch everywhere.
Oh, I can imagine. It sounds good. I am not someone that has seen a lot of like anything on the West End. I think I've seen Wicked, and that's about it. So I would love to. It's just I don't live close enough to London.
It's quite an undertaking to come to London for something like that.
Yeah, but it does sound like I see this stuff all the time, and it does look really cool.
I think
every
it's
time they bring
quite a sort of TikTok friendly show. I think it's really big in the kind of viral crowd.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm still waiting for them to bring Death Becomes Her to the UK because that I will make my way to London for.
Yeah, I love that film, so that would be interesting to see. We try and go to a fair amount of stuff, but I am quite picky. I can be really picky.
That is fair. You're allowed to
yeah, sometimes I just can't get into stuff like that. But then there's stuff like Hadestown that I absolutely love. But this is also worth watching.
Yeah, nice. Sounds really fun.
Yeah, I guess we should probably talk about the film that we're here to talk about.
Yeah,
Masters of the Universe. Long time coming to cinema. Given that the last time that He-Man appeared on screens was 1987 with Dolph Lundgren, who is also in this film. Probably should do vital statistics on this one. So, directed by Travis Knight, screenplay by Chris Butler, Aaron Nee, Adam Nee, and David Callahan. It stars, wait for it, Nicholas Galitzine, Camilla Mendes, Alison Brie, James Purefoy, Morena Baccarin, Johannes Hooker, Johannesson, oh, that's his full name, Johannes Hacker Johannesson, it's on a different line, Kristen Wiig, Jared Leto, and Idris Elba. Oh, and I'm going to have to shout it out because it's so good, a score by Daniel Pemberton. So it is in, the music is so good. We could do a whole podcast on that. In UK cinemas now, in US cinemas now as well. It came out here on Wednesday, it came out in the US on Friday. It's doing okay, but not amazingly at the box office, it looks like, for the weekend. I noticed the score on Rotten Tomatoes. It was certified fresh, but it's fallen into just fresh now. It's not like super fresh. So the review score has dropped quite a bit, but the audience score is really good. It's got a critic score of 66%. It's got an audience score of 88%. I think audiences have given it, the whole like A to F cinema score thing. They've given it a B+, which is on par with stuff like Batman versus Superman and the Marvels and stuff that does okay, but not amazingly. So we'll see how it does. I'm kind of hoping that families turned up for it yesterday because I think that it's not been marketed that much maybe at families, but it is a really fun, I think, family-friendly movie with plenty of tongue-in-cheek jokes from characters like Fisto.
Yes, the jokes are definitely, there's something. They're good, though. I'm quite surprised because I've seen a lot of love for this movie on the internet, like everybody just thirsting over how hot everybody looks, and it seems to be quite an internet-friendly movie.
Definitely,
so,
definitely.
It generated like a lot of conversations. I'm hoping that it kind of over time does better. It feels like it did really well on streaming.
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I wonder whether it will be the kind of thing that does okay in cinemas, maybe not well enough to get a sequel, which would be really sad given some of the teasers at the end. But I think we'll find a kind of cult following down the line where people will look back at it and think, do you know what? I didn't go see it at the cinema. Maybe I should have. Maybe I judged it unfairly.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of that at the minute where people are revisiting movies and they're going, I should have really, I enjoyed this. Why didn't I go watch it? Like the Marvels, which you just mentioned. I've seen a lot of people talking about it online, being like, actually, we hated on this way more than we probably should have. And I do feel like this film could be another one of those that we add to the list. So, yeah.
Now, you are obviously considerably younger than I am. So had you watched the 80s cartoon?
Kind of fractionally. I was a big cartoon kid. And this was one of those ones that was on at like 5 a.m. So like, if you're a parent that's up really early, it's probably aimed at that generation. So I have like slight memories of it, but my kind of interaction with He-Man and that kind of world and the Masters of the Universe is through the Netflix animated.
I realize I've only seen like the first, whatever the first incarnation of it was, like the first season of that. I haven't seen any of the rest of it, so I should really go back to it.
Oh, it's incredible. It's honestly one of the best animated TV shows I think I've ever watched. It's so good. It's honestly amazing.
Okay. Maybe that's a job. I've been rewatching the 80s cartoon. So I can't remember what year it started. Was it 82 or no, the toys were 82. I think the series was 83. And then first movie was 87. So the cartoon was kind of done and over before I was born. So I had seen some of it, thankfully. I'm not quite that old. But I did catch it in reruns. It was something that was still on TV quite a lot. So I had a few toys, not many, from it, but I did watch it. And I bought the box set of it recently, and I'm about halfway through the first season, I think, of rewatching it. There's so many bits of it that I remember and so many bits of it that I don't, particularly about the tone of it. I think they caught the tone of it really well in the film. That that campiness is exactly how it is watching it back from the 80s show.
Yeah, I can imagine it. I have like, obviously there's quite a lot of memes and stuff from the TV show, and it is quite camp. I mean, it is the 80s. The 80s
exactly
was just camp.
It is so memeable.
Yeah, like I don't even know where to begin. Like, is that like cheesy and like camp? The movie was
This is the thing that I was kind of worried about and was not sure about going into it. So it'd be interesting to know how you felt about this as somebody that doesn't have the same kind of connection to that version of it. It's such a thing, and it's so unique as a cartoon because it has a very different tone to things like Transformers and also to like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon and other big stuff of that era. It's different. It is still very different. Even I've been rewatching. Basically, I've been because I rewatched all of like the Batman cartoons. So I did Batman the Animated Series all the way through to Batman Brave and the Bold. So I'm having a break from DC stuff. So I've been rewatching TMNT, like the proper original one. And I'm I'm up to I'm nearly on season 5, and I'm at the end of season 1 of Thundercats, and I'm getting towards the end of season 1 of He-Man. So I've been doing some of the other classics and just rewatching those. And like tonally, He-Man is really different. So the thing that I don't want to say worried about, but the thing I was really intrigued about from the trailers was what the tone of the film would be like. I wondered whether they would go like I wasn't expecting it to go full on Dark Knight, but I wondered whether they would try and make it grittier and lose some of the comedy campy side of it to try and make it a bit more like a Marvel movie, which obviously is they're still quite silly at times, but the action still lands with a bit more heaviness. Or you do go the other way and you do like Zack Snyder's Masters of the Universe, where it's like deathly serious. So I was really happy that they just embraced all of that absurdity and that campiness rather than I didn't feel like it was ever ashamed of the tone of the cartoon. It embraced it for me more than it did anything else. But where were you kind of going into it in terms of what you were thinking about the tone of the movie would be, if you'd even given it any thought?
I know it's a product of the 80s, so I was kind of anticipating it to be like really bright and really loud and camp. I was expecting it to like be camp. So the fact that it did it and it went really far into it was kind of a plus for me. I did worry that it was going to try and Marvel movie itself, where it was going to like have the odd joke, but then like try and be really serious.
Yeah.
And thankfully it didn't. Like you said, it does really embrace like its own like history, its campness, and like where it came from, like tonally. So I think it did a really good job at embracing just the cartoon and really went for it.
Some of it surprised me as well, like how they worked in the names like Fisto and Mechanic and stuff like that, because you do think, okay, they were perfect for toys. That was the perfect way to sell toys. They've all got these catchy names. In a cartoon in the 1980s, no one cares about where the name comes from whatsoever. You can call somebody whatever you want. You can see it with Transformers. It works perfectly. Works with Thundercats as well. They just are their names. But then you think about now, and it's like, how on earth do you literally be like, oh, hey, it's Fisto? And I feel like the way they built that in and tied that to his childhood memories of Eternia worked really, really well.
Yeah, I thought it was clever the way they handled it, because I do remember the names being really strange. Like I had that as a memory, being like, I know that some of these characters sound crazy. Like Evil Lynn. Not necessarily the craziest name, but it isn't exactly, like Black Widow or something really sleek. No. It's a little bit kind of weird. So the way like the drawings and the way he remembers how that kind of whole like narrative was really clever. I thought they handled it really well.
Yeah. Evelyn is a funny one. I find that name so like
it's just crazy.
Like, because you've got people that have got really like He-Man is an interesting name. I don't know where, I don't know how they came up with it. And then you've got Teela, which is a bit more imaginative and fits more with that like Panthro and like characters from Thundercats, where they've just got a name and it is just their name. And then like Man at Arms, fair enough. Duncan, slightly less imaginative. You need to be in front of the camera. I don't think you need to be in front of the camera. Skeletor, good villain name as well. But then you get to like Evelyn, and I'm like, did you run out of ideas?
Yeah. And then Evelyn kind of implies that there's a good Lynn. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, true. I wonder if there is. And then is that just the sorceress? Is her name like Wiggling?
That's her backstory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I do find the names really interesting. What I liked actually is in the film the way like they say like Skeletor, like they make him sound really like big and scary, but then every now and then the characters will kind of just like side eye him and like, do you know what I mean? They had this like really like campness, but like, ooh, Skeletor, and then they'll like kind of side eye him in a kind of a like tongue in cheek way to be like, are we seriously doing this? Like it was really clever the way that like they found ways to make fun of it while also embracing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it did. It was able to take the mick out of itself really well at the same time as being awesome. There were a couple of times where I felt like the humor cut through a moment where it should have done something else. And like so the prime example for me was where they all work together and push the bars of their cell in Snake Mountain. And they do the hero walk, and they've got the slow motion hero walk. You've got the Queen song playing in the background. That's a really like not obvious choice of music and fits really well. And I was like, oh, we're getting like a hero moment. And then they all start choking on the dust and coughing, and it cuts through it. And I was like, do you know what? It's funny, but that was one moment where I thought, I wish you'd not pushed it that far. And we just got a hero walk, and then they went into battle, just to give us a moment where it wasn't like, oh, we're just going to cut through it with some humor in this moment that's quite like empowering for the characters. So there were a couple of moments like that which slightly went too far for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like there were the odd moment where it could have maybe just embraced its seriousness just a tad, just to give that
just a tiny bit more, just in a couple of moments, just to allow them to be a bit more heroic. Not that they weren't heroic, but it just felt like it didn't. Every now and then, they just didn't want to go too far with the heroics, and like that's somewhere where I feel like you could have embraced it a little bit more.
I agree. Do you know what I did appreciate in this was, speaking of camp, the way that the not perfect VFX and like fight sequences really lent itself well to the campness. It wasn't like sleek and Marvel level, like, well, not that Marvel's always perfect, but it wasn't this like super polished like fight sequence, like smooth, like all the kinks worked out. Sometimes the VFX were a little wonky and a little bit janky, but I actually thought it really benefited from that. It made it better. Did you think it was the same?
I hadn't really. I thought that Battle Cat wasn't very well integrated into the world. Battle Cat was kind of the one character that of sort of the VFX characters that didn't fit too well. Fight sequences, I didn't really notice it that much. I did, you can tell it's not like super high martial arts, like heavily choreographed stuff. It's a little bit more scrappy, which I did think worked really well for what it was. I thought the editing in the fight scenes worked really well as well. Like it wasn't cut so quickly that you couldn't see who anyone was or what was going on. You got enough of the scrappiness of it to feel like you were in the fight. But I thought all those sequences worked really well.
Yeah, me too. I can't remember which. I think the end fight sequence where He-Man and Skeletor were really like duking it out.
Yeah,
there was like one frame where it was like, I think the way Skeletor moves is super like animation. Like it did remind me of the cartoon. It wasn't.
Okay.
I don't know, just the way his face moved and the way his body moved. It was very throwback to the 80s.
I'll need to go back and watch it. I really want to try and catch it in IMAX before it's gone, so I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on it.
Yeah, if you go again, pay attention when the fight sequences are like unfolding. There's something. It's not all the time, but there's every now and then like a glint where like the VFX or like just something in like the sequence isn't like super polished, but I think it's intentional and it makes it a little more like enjoyable and like throwback.
I mean, there are a lot of moments in it that do try and reflect the cartoon. Like there's the moment towards the end where everyone's laughing, where they're all doing the like ha 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 ha. So that would not surprise me if they put in certain like mistakes or things like that in there on purpose. Like it's one of those cartoons where this is something that you spot a lot with like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There'll be moments where the wrong person is talking, where they've got like the bandana color wrong. Or like a thing that was really common back then in cartoons would be just completely miscoloring things between shots because they're obviously rushing to get stuff done. So it wouldn't have surprised me if there wasn't a shot where like He-Man's like pink vest is like purple in one shot and then pink in the next one. Like just because of like trying to reflect when animation just was not perfect. So it genuinely, it wouldn't surprise me if they did something like that in the fight sequences as well. The first credit scene, or like, so for those who haven't seen it, there's kind of 3 credit moments. There's a right after the title card moment before the credits, then a mid credit and a post credit. That sequence with, I'm going to forget his name, that's terrible, from the cartoon. I'm going to have to look it up. Orko. That moment with Orko where he kind of appears right after the film has ended, and he's like, the message of today's story is how every episode of the cartoon ends. Every episode of that 80s show gives you the message of the day. So I thought that was really cool that they brought that back, because that's an absolute like nod to old school fans.
See, that reference went completely over my head, so I was about to ask you that without spoiling it. So I was like, that one, because I could see people reacting in the cinema like, oh, that's really cool. And it was for the first time in a while, I was like, oh, there's a nerd reference here that I don't know. Clued up on.
I'm not in on the joke.
And I hadn't Googled it because I saw the film quite late, so I kind of came home and passed out. But I forgot about that. So that's cool.
So there's like a moral message to every episode. So at the end, like the characters will appear and be like, thank you for watching, kids. Today we taught you drugs are bad. So that was what that was. That was just bringing that back. We should talk about cast and some of the like main cast and the different characters. Mainly, of course, Nicholas Galitzine as Adam/He-Man. What did you think of him? Because we haven't really ever seen him in an action role. This I think is probably the biggest thing he's done. So, well, maybe not quite. Might not be quite as big as Red, White, and Royal Blue, but in terms of theatrical, biggest thing he's ever done. What do you think he worked well as an action hero? Did he embody the role really well? Where are you with Galitzine?
I feel like he's a really good like action leading man. He reminded me a lot of Chris Evans, like back in the day when he was first like kind of like Captain America, and he did like Snowpiercer and all that kind of stuff. Snowpiercer, yeah, that's right. I thought it was really good. I thought obviously he looked insane, like he looked the part, which good for him. But
one person came up to me after the press screening and said he wasn't big enough.
You are kidding me.
Only one person, but one person did say it. One person did say he's not big enough.
I mean, fair. It was a realistic build, which I appreciated. It wasn't insane. Yeah, but I thought he did a really good job. I thought he was really funny. He was really charismatic.
Yeah, he was.
He knew when to like do the punches, like emotionally speaking, like he knew when to like go high or like go low. He just did a really good job, and I feel like, I thought he did a really, really good job. I'm sure he's going to do really well in like action movies in the future.
I hope so. Yeah, I think they should put him on a new platform. Really, they should really raise his profile.
I agree. I feel like the action sequences. Speaking of them, I thought like he did a really good job. Yeah, because some people when they do action sequences, they're not amazing, and he had to balance not only like being badass but also being a bit camp. So it was quite a tall order of stuff to deliver. What
there are times where I feel like you can see people in that kind of role counting like punch 2, 3, 4, kick, like counting the moves and kind of recounting the choreography, and I didn't get that from him. I think my only issue with the characterization of it that I still don't quite. It might fall into place a bit more on second watch. When he's an adult and he goes back to Eternia, he's still it's almost like a weird fish out of water thing, but he's still quite childlike, and I don't understand why he's a little bit childlike as an adult. And I can't really remember any of the sort of specific lines of dialogue or anything that made me think about it at the time, but there's kind of a couple of moments where rather than being a grown-up who doesn't have an identity because he didn't fit in on Earth, and he also doesn't fit in on Eternia because he's not been there for 15 years, I got a little bit more of like childlikeness to him, which I didn't quite understand. It was just a little bit weird that it was almost like a slight child's personality in an adult's body. That was my only thing about it, and I can't quite put my finger on exactly what it was. But I just felt like his characterization was a little bit weird when he wasn't in the action at that point in the film, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. I wonder if it's got anything to do with, because obviously his character, like when he's in his human form, it's all about like his feelings, and there's like nods to his. He obviously goes to therapy, which is a joke, and he's quite emotional. I wonder if maybe he's like stunted emotionally because of what he went through. Could be part of it. I did quite enjoy the fact that him as a character is obviously this big, muscly, like masculine man, and the whole setup at the beginning is he works for like therapy, and like he talks about his feelings a lot, and there's like a whole through line with him and Idris Elba's character where they talk about their feelings, which obviously if little like boys watch this, I think that's a really good message to promote, because big burly muscly man talking about his feelings isn't something we normally see. So,
and you can guess what that means, that I've had lots of responses like on Twitter about this film.
Have they been bad?
It's not been too bad, but it's been constant. There's a lot of like, woke.
Yeah. I found it quite funny. Do you remember when the first trailer came out and you see
the
he him? I thought that was quite funny. But
he man, like, he him. It like it's so obvious what it actually is.
Yeah, I thought it was just a funny joke. I think people need to lighten up.
Oh, totally. There's one particular person on Twitter that has been going around responding to anyone tweeting positively about the film by just sharing a screenshot of a quote from Camila Mendes, where she says that Tila is quite influenced by toxic masculinity, which I actually don't feel is a thing in the film particularly. She does have a strained relationship with her dad, but for a very specific reason. But do you know what? I would not be surprised if the whole cast of the film hasn't been trolling people on purpose about it. It's just really funny, and this guy just keeps responding to people with positive thoughts about the film by being like, I won't watch this because it's about toxic masculinity. It's like, it's not. It's like, just grow up.
Yeah. In fact, there's like an entire sequence in the film where they talk about, like what is it to be a man and what is it to be like stepping up to the mantle of being a man. And I actually think it does a really good job at discussing both sides of the brute kind of, stereotypical like macho-ness, but then also like the feelings. It does a good job at balancing both. So
it does. It's a good role model of a role for people, but certain people aren't interested in that. Speaking of Camila Mendes, I don't think I've seen her in anything other than Riverdale.
I'm trying to think what I've seen her in.
So
I think I've seen. Have you seen the movie Do Revenge, which was a Netflix movie?
No, I haven't.
That's the only thing I've ever seen her in. I've never watched Riverdale. I know her from Riverdale, obviously. Yeah. That's obviously
another memorable show.
Yep. But I saw her in the movie Do Revenge, which again is quite camp and quite funny. It's kind of like a Mean Girls variation.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was pretty good.
She takes to action as well as Galaxine does. When Tila first like breaks into that fight sequence in like America, which is Canary Wharf in London. Like I know all of those, like whole fight sequence on the like with the cars, everything, all of that was London. I know all of these areas. Yeah, it's all shot in Canary Wharf. The whole, like all of that. Even when the shop where he goes to find the sword, that is like a side, like where his car is a side street in like Canary Wharf. It's so random. America. But yeah, when she comes into that sequence, she's great. She has a real good strength of character about her. She feels like Tila to me, and she provides a great kind of emotional through line for the film. And I think she plays off He-Man really, really well. And I'm glad that they didn't just go down the romantic route and actually make fun of that as well at the same time.
Yeah, I thought she did a really good job. I appreciated the fact that she wasn't in her true to the animated show outfit for the full film, because when I saw it at the end, I was like, oh, like it looks great, but I preferred the other outfit.
Yeah.
But she did a really, really good job. I thought that intro sequence, I thought was a really good setup to her character, like the way she's quite badass on it. Because obviously He-Man at that point, or Adam, has no clue, so he's solely relying on her to figure it out. So it was quite a good scene, I thought. It reminded me a little bit of the Winter Soldier when Cap and Nat are running away from
the
Winter
true.
Soldier.
It is. Yeah, they do take some. That's a good comparison.
But loved it. I thought she was really good. I think I'd be interested to see if she again has another career in action films going forward, because she did impress me a lot.
Yeah, Idris Elba. What do you think of Idris?
I feel like he was there to have a good time and a good time only.
He was so there to have a good time. I think he was probably a fan of the cartoon and was just like, I just want to be involved.
Yeah, I think he did a good job at having the first kind of major action sequence of the film. Like, he's the first person we see kind of fight.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a good job. He obviously is very funny, but also knows how to. He's just a good actor all around. And I thought he did a really good job. He clearly had fun playing two sides of a character. Like, you see him at the beginning, and as you see him in the middle, they're very different. And I loved it. I thought he did a really, really good job.
I kind of feel like Duncan has almost the most well-defined arc of the film. Like, Adam does go through a lot, but I don't feel like at the end of the film, Adam has fully become He-Man yet. I think he's nearly there, but I don't feel that he's like fully there yet. Whereas Duncan goes from this really, really strong, almost, I'm not going to say toxic, but he does have, the way he treats young Adam is probably not the right way to have looked after a kid who was feeling the way that Adam was at that point, to then what happens in that fight sequence and how it impacts on him and who he is when we then catch up with him 15 years later to who he is at the end of the film. I think it's a really nice, it's really well written arc for that character.
I completely agree, because he kind of just start in the not toxic, but maybe not like the best version of himself at the beginning of the film. And the way he goes through this really kind of dark, I guess, like when we find him, it's quite a dark place for the character, and where it ends is really sweet. It's definitely the best journey in the film for sure.
I was gonna go to Skeletor next, but actually I think Skeletor is a really big one to talk about, but I do just want to touch on Alison Brie as Evelyn. So please, I feel like actually Morena Baccarin as well. I feel like I would love to have seen more of Morena Baccarin as Sorceress, but she is really a very specific role. I feel like most of the people in this film understood the film that they were in, and they were doing the I'm going to acknowledge that it's campy, but I am also in a film where we're going to have some fun and we're going to have action. I'm not sure that Alison Brie quite got that she was in that film. She, for me, was just a little bit too scenery chewing. Jared Leto goes very, very, very far. But he goes very, very far, and I feel like he was having really good fun with it and feels very in Skeletor, whereas Alison Brie stood out for me as the one that wasn't quite getting the assignment.
See, I thought, because Skeletor is so big, I thought she kind of balanced it out in a way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She kind of added some depth, because every scene he's in, he's so big. He's so
normally there
over the top, and she's there just to kind of pull. There's one scene that stuck out to me where she kind of looks down into the side and her eyes widen as if to be like, Jesus Christ, okay. And she kind of had these really subtle, quieter moments that I think made him shine. So that's kind of how I took it.
We'll see how I find it on second watch. But there was just in that first watch something about it for me. I was like, I don't feel like she's quite nailed the tone that other people have got. Jared Leto, however, I feel like I've decided Jared Leto is at his best when you don't know it's Jared Leto.
Yes.
Although, agree. Let me caveat, he is absolutely flipping amazing in Requiem for a Dream, where he is very clearly, it is him. However, I feel like in recent times, his better roles are when you don't know it's him.
I completely agree. I thought he did an insane job. I'm just looking at his movies just to see what he's been in, to see which one. Panic Room. That's the movie I think he does really good in, because he plays a really creepy role.
Yeah.
But no, I think he does a really good job in this for sure. I was a bit nervous because obviously he can kind of go one way or the other depending on
Yeah.
I don't know what film it is. I was thinking of just the Joker, to be honest. Like, please stop being another Joker. Please, be solid.
Have you seen Disney film from a couple of years ago, Haunted Mansion? I was going to call it
Yes.
Phantom Manor, which is what it's called at Disneyland in Paris. It's not called the Haunted
Yes.
Mansion; it's called Phantom Manor. Have you seen Haunted Mansion with him in it as the villain?
Yeah.
That feels like proto Skeletor. Like I feel like he took that performance and just went like, I'm just going to crank up the volume a bit.
Yeah, turn up the dial.
Yeah.
I honestly, was he in the motion capture for this, do we think, or is it just voice
So he was
acting?
on set for the whole thing.
Was
I read an
he?
interview with the director. He was on set for the whole thing wearing a muscle suit and most of the costume. So a lot of that is practical.
Wow.
The only thing, and then he had the dots on the face, and they obviously completely redid the face. But he was on set so that he could he could read the lines and interact with the other actors, and they used the way he emoted to map that onto the skeleton, which is why it's such an emotive skeleton face.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
but he was actually.
For the full,
You really do have to give him credit for the whole performance.
yeah, for the full film, I was questioning: is this just voiceover work, or is he there? So the fact that he was there makes that way more impressive. Good for him.
I think some footage has been released of it now. I haven't seen it, but I believe there's no footage of him, just so that you can see what it was like.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. I might have to watch that after this. But no, he did. It was really good. It was so camp. Like the whole bit at the end of the film where him and He-Man are talking, and it's kind of like the final talk before like the big fight. And he goes, "I'm just bad, and I like it." Like that entire sequence and the way he delivers it and just the way he laughs, just everything about it was so well done. And yeah, he understood the assignment completely.
I had somebody that was sat to my right that was emoting a lot throughout the film. So I was kind of at the same time as watching it, I was kind of gauging their reactions as well, just to see what they were kind of vibing with and what they weren't. And when He-Man starts that speech where it feels like he's just going to HR his way out of that fight, so this guy was just like, "Oh God," like not like, "Oh God," like this isn't happening. So when Skeletor turns around, it's just like, when you think that he's about to maybe have some sort of emotional moment, and like the film is just going to go completely off the rails, like they're not even going to fight, they're going to hug. When he turns around and he's like, "I'm evil," he was just like, yes! I thought it was quite funny. I was glad that they did throw down after that, because I was like, please do not solve this with love.
Yeah, please no.
This was not a moment to solve things with love.
No, it was not.
But you could tell that he was having fun with this character as well. Interesting that he's not done any promo for it whatsoever. He's not been to any of the like premiere events. He's not done any of the junkets. He's not done anything for it whatsoever. There's not been a single interview with Jared Leto talking about this role. Yeah, I feel like most of the reviews have called him out as maybe being one of the strongest actors in the film.
I feel like that's intentional though, because he did go through that period where people didn't like him. I think he got like cancelled for some reason or another, but I think him not
probably then acknowledge that there were some allegations of some rather not very positive behavior against some people, which I don't believe has ever become a legal issue, but nevertheless there were some quite serious allegations. So I think people are not really sure what to think of him, because no one knows is that quite. It's one of those situations where people said he did things. It hasn't really become this massive media storm of stuff, but the allegations exist. So it's sort of that weird gray area of, I don't really know what I'm supposed to think or where he is in the situation, which I think people find difficult. So I do wonder whether he was kind of kept back a little bit so that didn't become part of the conversation.
I think if that is the case, I think it was a very smart move, because I think, especially for him and his career, if that is the case, because nobody's really talking about anything other than the fact that he did a really good job. So
and I think Tron has kind of proven that he's sort of not very bankable as a lead.
Yeah, I've still not seen it.
You're not missing too much, to be honest. It's not bad. It's perfectly watchable. It's a very expensive, okay film.
That is rough.
I think he works best when he's in an ensemble like this and he's not front and center.
Yeah, I think he's a good texture to a big group, but him on his own isn't. Yeah, the draw. I do think. Sorry.
No, go for it.
I do think he does a really good job because the character can be a little bit one note, and I did worry like going into this if he was just going to be like draining to watch because how much can you do with Skeletor? But he actually did find ways to make the character have a bit of a up and down. It wasn't just one consistent tone.
I think he will be equally as memeable as 80s original cartoon Skeletor was.
Yeah, completely agree. What did you think to Kristen Wiig?
I forgot it was Kristen Wiig to begin with. So there must have been like 2 or 3 scenes with Roboto in where I'd kind of not computed it and thought about who it was. And then all of a sudden it did twig in my mind where I was like, oh yeah, who is... Oh, it's Kristen Wiig. I thought she fit in really well. It was kind of cool to hear her in that role. And it wasn't a big deal. No one made a big deal about it. She didn't end up with some big speech that made it really obvious it was her. You could hear it was her. But again, it just sounded like she was having fun.
Yeah. See, I did not know it was Kristen Wiig. So for the full film, I was playing my favorite game of why do I know that voice and who is it?
Yeah.
And I couldn't place it, but I knew that I knew it. And when I saw the titles at the end and it said in Kristen Wiig, I was like, of course. She did such a good job. She was so funny. I thought her character was maybe the funniest one because some of her lines were just so great.
I love the whole like, please try not to try and kill me. And she's like, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
It was great.
I think she will stand out really well on a rewatch. And then hopefully, given the fate of her character in the film, she gets to come back later.
Yes, she does with some very interesting improvements.
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, because there's that whole thing of like, oh, this is a bit revealing.
Yeah. That when they're all stood in like basically underwear, and she's like, "Oh, I feel a bit revealing." Was quite a good line.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about before we wrap it up. I wanted to talk about the music. Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on this. I've not had a chance to listen to it yet because it came out on Friday. I've been listening to Eternia, which is the first track that they released a few weeks ago, like constantly for the last few weeks. I am dying to listen to the rest of it, and I am also dying to get my hands on a vinyl copy of it. I need someone to release it like as soon as possible. Daniel Pem, I actually, so when I tweeted my reaction after I saw the press screening, I did 2 tweets. I did one that was like what I thought about the film, and then I did another one where I had to like call out Daniel Pemberton because that guy is having a year between Project Hail Mary and this. Like those 2 scores are massive. And like they're so different. He did the score for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. He is just a genius. I think he is the next generation of like Danny Elfman because his music is so like there are so many weird sounds and weird instruments, and just the way he approaches music is so creative. Like listening to every like tiny element of it is just so there's like just so much going on. And then you go and get Brian May to play guitar on it, and I feel like I was watching Flash Gordon from 1980. Like you could double bill those films, and they would fit so perfectly together because that is exactly the mold that this film is cut from.
Yeah, complete. Do you know what I was thinking? Flash Gordon throughout the entire film.
Yep.
Again, great reference.
Absolutely,
the music,
camp classic.
Yeah, the definition of a camp classic.
Literally. Which is what sci-fi should be. Like it is like that weird 80s bonkers. Like no one is like barely anyone in the lead is wearing clothes. Like weird, like greased up, horny camp sci-fi.
Yeah, I thought the music was truly. What's not to love? Say less. The music was absolutely incredible. When it was action sequences, it was so like, pumped up energy. But then I liked the little nuances, like when Adam's falling, he falls out of a ship and he hits a branch of every tree. There's like a musical sting that follows him as he hits each branch, which I thought was so like, again, it was just so clever and so cool, and it sounded amazing. It was so well done.
Yeah, I feel like you could hear him having loads of fun making the music, like just cooking the music for it.
Yeah.
A couple of classic themes from like the '80s show in there as well. You have to have the moment where you bring back like the classic theme, but do it in this orchestral way. The moment in the film. So that first track, Eternia, is the first thing that plays in the film. So already you're like in, and you've heard Brian May, and you're like, this is going to be really sci-fi and crazy. But then the moment that completely made me fall in love with it after that was the piano bit of The Cure. So before the actual Cure song kicked in, they do a piano cue of it, which is on the soundtrack. And I was just like, yes, yes, just no, like there is nothing, no notes, amazing, so good, so good.
It was so good. It was amazing. Even the end, like title sequences at the end, it was so delicious.
Okay, speaking of which, then before we kind of give our final thoughts, credit sequences. So we've already done that like little pre-stinger with Orko. Next up, okay, there's two things to kind of say about it. The mid-credit scene, major setup for a sequel. I feel like you were probably like,
I was like,
yeah,
yes.
At the same time, I was like, I know who this is going to be. I know who this is going to be. And I wish that this was like 25 years ago and it could have been Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I feel like she would be perfect. But then I think she is also one of the voices, isn't she, in the Netflix show at one point?
I think, yeah.
My other thing, I love how the film doesn't try and set up a sequel during the main story. Like, I feel like you have got a very self-contained film that does not try and ram in a bunch of setup for another film, and then you get this in the credits that's like if we get to make more, here's a thing that might come back.
Yeah, it was very self-contained, and it wasn't Easter egg heavy. It was. Do you know what I also appreciated? The story was really simple. Like it wasn't overly complicated. It wasn't stuffed full of just random B plots. It was just very, cut and dry. The end credit scene.
This moment where they're like, "Okay, she might return to us too," and you're like, "She,
right." I, again, obviously, massive fan of the TV show. I was like, I wonder if they're going to weave this in. Like, that TV show was huge. Like, they'd be stupid not to. And then at the end, it's like, well, she'll come back to us. I was like, she? And then it starts cutting up, and you just see the outfit. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, I started nerding out.
Yeah. I love that they haven't tried to cast her already. So it was just a kind of like, here's the silhouette, here's the classic costume, and then like a slight turn to camera, rather than being like, after seeing Nicholas Galitzine try and take on this role, we're going to completely like make you forget that for a second by going, here's A-list actress as She-Ra that you might never get to see if we don't get to make a sequel. I like that it was clear as to who it was clear as to what they were saying, but it wasn't like here's a stunt casting moment. I thought they did it in a really nice way, and they did it well.
I agree. Do you think it'd be better served as a separate film? And then, so you've got like, because I was talking about this in the car on the way home. I think it'd be good if you had like Masters of the Universe, then you had like a She-Ra film. Because obviously the whole setup is that she's somewhere else. So
yes, cool if you we don't know where she was.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see where she is, and then have like a third film where they kind of come together. You know? Yeah.
No, that works. I think that it would be a good idea to give her story what it deserves without taking away from him, because they would. It would be difficult to have both of them leading a film without taking away from one of their stories, and she has such a big story to tell, as well as seeing what happens next to him.
Completely agree.
And then you go post-credit, and we have a little extra sting post-credit just to make sure that you know that Skeletor will return. Yes,
Skeletor will return. I thought it was great, and the fact that the last thing that we see or hear is just him laughing. I was like, yeah. Perfect way to end this. True to the cartoon.
Yeah.
Just, we'll repeat it all next week.
Exactly. Kind of we will be back next week and we will do the whole thing again. Okay, final thoughts. I'm trying to remember what my how I ended my review. I gave this film 4 stars, and I said the film succeeds because it recognizes that the answer was never to modernize He-Man beyond all recognition. Instead, Travis Knight embraces every ridiculous, colorful, and sincere aspect of the Masters of the Universe and discovers that authenticity is far more appealing than irony. 4 stars. What's your verdict? What score would you have given it?
Oh, so I've not written mine yet, so mine's not going to be as eloquent as yours. But I would say that it is the embodiment of a true summer blockbuster. It's camp, it's funny, action-packed, and very accessible to anyone that would enjoy this genre. And I'd give it 4 as well. I think 4 stars is definitely earned.
Amazing. Please, if you are listening to this or watching this podcast and you have not seen this film yet, go watch it. Just kick back and have an amazing time at the cinema and just enjoy it, because it is so much fun. And I just can't wait to watch it again. I think it's a film I will return back to every now and then for just a bit of fun.
Yeah, I'm thinking of booking tickets to go watch it again on the big screen, because it was just, it deserves it. It was that good.
Yeah, I hope they get to make a sequel as well. We will just wait and see how it shakes out after this weekend, but it would be great to see more from this cast and this world. I think it deserves it.
Agreed.
Amazing. Well, I don't know where we go next. You haven't seen Scary Movie yet. You're going to go see that tonight as we're recording this. I have so many thoughts on it, which you can read my review over on the website, www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk, if you want to see what I thought of it. But I would love to talk about it. So maybe that's a thing that we will circle back to in a future episode. I am really interested to know what you think of it. And before you know it, this is it. We are in June as we're recording this. We are going into the season of Supergirl, into Spider-Man. We now know that X-Men 97 season 2 is coming right at the start of July. The second season of Batman Caped Crusader just got confirmed for the end of July. Like, summer comic book movie madness is about to descend, and I feel like we're going to have a lot to talk about in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we've got a lot to break down, a lot to rank, a lot to discuss, spoilers to cover. It's going to be a very busy time.
Well, this is terrible. I'm having to Google movies in June and July 2026 to know what else there is. Disclosure Day is coming out next week. Looking forward to that. Toy Story 5 is coming very, very soon. Jackass, Minions and Monsters, Enola Holmes 3, Moana, Evil Dead Burn, The Odyssey, and Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's the entire of the next 8 to 10 weeks of movies. So there is a lot that's going to be coming up. I am so excited because I know a lot now about what I'm going to be doing with Supergirl. I know when I'm going to be seeing it. I know when I'm going to be seeing bits of it. I know when things are happening. So I'm excited.
Can't wait. I'm sorry. I'm jealous and excited.
Me too. Meantime, we've not talked about comic books in a while. I feel like we probably need to spend some time giving some love to comic books. So maybe we need to think about that too.
Yeah, I think just shouting them out. We've got some new reviews on the site. I've been covering Harley and Harley.
I've been you've just been I'm covering everything, whether I didn't have a chance to do it because I was on holiday or not. I am covering this book.
Yeah, I missed a few issues. I've been backlogging them as best I can. But yeah, still covering Poison Ivy, still covering Harley Quinn, still covering Harley and Ivy, and covering Sirens. So anything Harley and Ivy related, I'm on it.
There is you and I are going to be crossing over quite soon as well, because DC's released more details about Bad Seeds, which is this whole Poison Ivy Batman crossover that's happening towards the end of summer, which Matt Fraction, who's writing the Batman book, and G. Willow Wilson, who's writing Poison Ivy, are collaborating on. So the two of them are writing this big event story together. So we're going to be crossing over in our two books soon. So that's going to be exciting for the end of summer.
Yeah. The last couple of issues of Poison Ivy have been getting... Now, I didn't actually know that was happening. I did wonder what was going on, because they do keep referencing Batman, and there's a lot of build-up for something. So that actually makes a lot more sense. So
in the Bat books, because obviously for anybody that's not reading them at the moment, Pamela Isley is the mayor of Gotham City, and the commissioner of Gotham City is Vandal Savage, who is obviously equally evil. He has just, as the commissioner, gone to her and asked to have a task force that's like an anti-vigilante task force. So in the last couple of issues of Batman, he's raided all of Batman's bat caves across the city, completely destroyed all of them. The entire Bat family is outlawed. They've arrested Barbara Gordon for aiding and abetting the Bat family. They don't know that she's Batgirl or Oracle, but they arrested her for having helped them. And she's been sent to Supermax, which is this massive prison in Gotham City. So that's why she has her own book at the moment. Barbara Gordon breakout, and there's a whole like subplot as to what she's doing. So like Poison Ivy is behind all of this at the moment, and it's just leading into this huge event for later on. So it's like really big stuff going on.
Yeah, and what's quite interesting as well is in the Harley Quinn spin-off, in Harley Quinn's like own kind of comic book, the references that keep pulling in of like the bigger story, like it is kind of having this big over kind of like cloud effects on the full DC universe, it feels. So it's quite interesting to see these other franchise, like, you know, Batman, Harley, all been affected by what Ivy's doing. So
nice. Okay,
be good.
I think we're going to need to talk about that when this really kicks off later on then. So let's put that in your back pocket for later on.
Let's do it.
So until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you out there. Bye.